Hi guys. Sorry, I'm a little late this morning. We are doing some different some different things with our live feed, so I'm trying to use StreamYard to do my live feed this morning because then it automatically uploads to YouTube and it makes it more automatic. So I don't know. So I'm playing around with some different stuff this morning, and I don't know if it's doing anything different. Mary Lynn, good morning. Hello. How are you? No, I don't think that's doing anything different. But anyway, hi guys. Good morning to you. Not gonna sing. Um, Coming to you from the Westfall Family Gym, aka our dining room, that I converted several weeks back, and then used a couple times, but it's just not the same as being in the gym. So I really have just been running pretty much through the whole quarantine thing. Meredith, Kendall, good morning. Hi, guys. How are you? Happy Wednesday. So, I put in the description what I intended to talk about today. We'll see if I actually talk about those things, but I got some links and stuff to talk about. So, uh, just some, so running yesterday, did 4 miles. I wanted to push it a little bit more, but I ended up practicing self care and bringing it back a little bit because I knew I had 6 miles to do today. Uh, so I eased it back because my knees have been hurting a little bit. So yeah, 6 miles today. It looks to be. I know it's not exactly sunny today, but it makes it like a perfect running day. It's overcast. It's actually even a little foggy, maybe even a little mist going on, but it's perfect. It's lower 60s. I got to do 6 miles today. I am. Good morning, Mary Jo. I was hoping you were going to come on to the duo feed yesterday that I did with Chelsea, but I didn't see you on. I hope you saw it, though. I talked about you in the way you greet everybody for me. You're my official greeter. You're the official greeter of Life on the Run. Um, so good morning. I'm glad you joined us this morning. So 6 miles this morning, and then tomorrow I'm going to go hit the trails again. So today's going to be another road run, and then tomorrow's going to be back on the trails. Kind of want to do the trails today, but I'm kind of pressed for time, so I just got to stay close to home here and do the 6 miles here, and then go get my weekly COVID test in the city and do some errands and stuff. So, yeah, so that's kind of what my day looks like. Doing a lot of thinking. So yesterday I was kind of just based on a lot of the stuff that's going on in our in our community these days and in our country. Um, just doing a lot of thinking about that, and it's certainly not the first time that we've been through this, and trying to think of different ways that I can help my friends in our community. Recovery fitness has always been, at least my experience of it. We have always been on the side of the voiceless. So speaking up for those that don't have the ability to speak up for themselves. That was really my pathway into recovery. I talked about a little bit yesterday too. Was not through the gym, even though it perfectly aligns with me. It Yes, I did. I have been reading Chasing the Scream, Mary Jo. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Um, my pathway into recovery was through doing community outreach with Yana back in 2017 in a with a group that we called Find Your Path. Um, and the basic premise of it, I mean, we did outreach on North Clinton, walking up and down, just engaging with folks, primarily homeless, just out on the street because of their addiction or whatever reason. I mean, obviously, we didn't discriminate who we engaged with, but primarily people suffering with substance use disorder, and that was sort of my pathway into recovery. and I've always, admired that and held that close to my heart, that, that's what we did. We were there to speak up for those that didn't have a voice anymore, right? Folks who were invisible to the rest of society. But we were there to say, I see you, and I honor you and where you're at, and I want to help. I want to help in any way that I can. It's just work, service work, pure and simple. So we've never, even though we don't get involved in controversy, we don't involve ourselves in controversy in the public eye. We don't want to get involved in controversy. We always want to speak up for the voiceless, to help those that that are not in a position of privilege or of power of any kind. To help them find their power again is really where our passion is. So I just want to. It's been, as I run, I think a lot about these things, and that's where I do some of my best thinking, is in my running. That's why I call it a moving meditation, because I have so much more clarity, and I believe that's where I'm most open to communication from divine sources, whatever you consider that to be, whatever your higher power is. Um, that's where I feel like I get that clearest communication. I've just had so many different things happen in my life through my running, uh, that I truly believe that. So this has been no exception, and trying to think about, and we've had talks about in staff meetings as well. Thinking about different ways that we can help our community. And what does that look like, without being controversial, but without being silent either. Like, we can't be silent in moments where noise is required, right? But how do we do that? How do we do that respectfully, conscientiously, and in a way that's going to be helpful? So I don't know. So I've been doing a lot of that kind of thinking and stuff like that, and how do we do that also amidst a pandemic that says social distancing and all this other stuff. So um, I went and found a resource. I read CNN a lot, um, but I went and found a resource that talked about um, how to what your rights are. So if you do decide to go and join, uh, if you do decide to go and join uh, protests, peaceful demonstrations, hopefully, we want to always be on the side of the righteous, so to speak. But joining peaceful demonstrations, what are my rights? What can I? And I just posted a link to an article I found this morning. Knowing your rights and knowing what you can and can't do within the bounds of the law is the first step in in demonstrating peacefully. And I do believe that demonstration is what you know how we affect change, and also voting. Like, I don't know, if this isn't spurring everyone on to vote, I don't know what will. Like, that is how we make change, right? Governmentally, if we're not, if we feel like these policies are no good, which I hope, after everything everyone's seen over the last week or so, um, if you don't feel like change needs to happen now, like, I don't know, I don't know what's going to convince you. Like, the things that are going on, in the rights that are being trampled, uh, just for the sake of politics, is just, it's egregious. And without getting too political, and again, I don't want to get controversial, but get out and vote, advocate for change. Really get involved and know, who we've got, in positions of power, and what do they stand for, right? Really do some homework, educate yourself, and get out and vote, because that's the way we make change. We make change by demonstrating, but we make real lasting change by voting. So if you've never voted before, go out and do it. It's really, it's so it's just one of your basic rights as an American citizen to get out and vote and understand who you're voting for, right? Don't just cast a ballot based on political affiliation or alignment, but really understand and hold our elected officials accountable, right? This is how we make change. Um, and gosh, change needs to happen. It just needs to happen. We've been accepting this disparity is what you're seeing. Is people frustrated with the disparity, and I can tell you that it's just gotten worse and worse. It's not just it's all marginalized populations. It's not just communities of color. It's people of poverty, which tend to be communities of color. But it includes poor white people. It includes everyone who has ever been marginalized by society. Um, we need to advocate for more equal rights, better service in our community. You know, um, Gosh, the system is just so horribly broken. And I know that people are like, well, the system's working the way it's intended to. It's creating this disparity. Well, we need to create a better system then. And the only way we can do that is by voting. So I get off my soapbox about that, but I really so I'm not going to be quiet about it. Uh, I really believe that. And again, we've been talking about, and we read, staff has read before, and we're asking new staff to read it now. A book called White Fragility, and it's a hard read uh, for being a person of privilege. I'm the basic picture of a person of white privilege, except for the fact that I'm a stone's throw away from poverty. Most of my life. I'm a middle-aged white man, so I have this privilege that to not acknowledge that is a crime. I mean, there we have privilege that we don't necessarily take advantage of. In the recovery coach training, like there's a whole module on privilege and white privilege. And it's, as many times as I've given the training and been in the training itself, it's probably one of the most difficult modules to get through for some folks. And I was lucky enough to, when I originally in 2017 went through my training, there was a really diverse group that I trained with, and it was a really great conversation because it really opened my eyes to things that I hadn't ever been before. Yes, even poor white people have privileges, Meredith. Absolutely, absolutely. And to acknowledge that is just the beginning of understanding how we can make change, right? So even just acknowledging that, and I know this is a really charged subject for a lot of people, and I don't want to get into a big controversial discussion, over my life on the run feed, um, but we have privilege in ways that we don't even understand, and that in and of itself is privilege. The fact that we don't even have to think about it, right? The fact that we don't have to have that conversation uh, you know, with our kids as they're growing up is a privilege. And it's one that I didn't even realize I had until I went through that training. Right. And there's all kinds of different ways that we enjoy this privilege that, whether you agree with it or not, or whether you feel like you take advantage of it or not, you still have it. And it's incumbent upon us with that privilege to utilize it to help those that don't have it. Right. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. It's really difficult. Um, yeah, I don't wanna get into a controversy over these comments, but yes, I mean, there's all kinds of things going on. I mean, there's people out there creating problems who have no interest in equal justice. They just want to create chaos and burn the whole system down, and that needs to be separated out. And luckily, that realization came I pretty quickly, I think. Um, and I think that a lot of the protests are starting to become more peaceful, more inclusive. Um, there's still just an awful lot of unrest and things like that. So I really feel like, again, as we were talking about this internally, it makes sense, right? The anger, the outrage, the outcry. How many more times do we have to go through this before we make change? Um, and hopefully, I understand. I understand the anger. I understand that. Like, I get it. I feel it. I just want to cry when I think about it. Um, so I sometimes you have to make a noise, and that's what's happening. And it's hard to stand by and watch. So I just hope that for my friends out there who are protesting, please do it safely, and please, the last thing we need is to make this pandemic worse again. Wear a mask, uh, try and keep your distance, but also, don't be silent. Do whatever you can. Think of ways that you can help marginalized communities and marginalized populations. Think. Let's use our head. Let's use our hearts. Um, this domination, these comments about domination, they just need to stop. Like, that's not the way to make things better. No one ever got better by being dominated. No one ever, that just does nothing but create more uprising comments like that. We need to come together, and we need to use our heads and our hearts, and really be smart about this. So get out and vote. Think of different ways you can help your brothers and sisters, and just get out in the community and be a voice for change, be an agent of change. That's what we want to do. So I also looked into uh, ADHD and how to work from home. Like, right as we start to look at this new normal, and really a lot more people working from home for a long period of time. I mean, this isn't going to change anytime soon, even though things are starting to open up back up again. You're seeing offices be at much lower capacity, so a lot of even at recovery, as we talk about reopening phases, we're talking about staggering. Those who can work from home will continue to work from home, and that includes our outreach and engagement specialist teams. Anybody that could do the same work from home are going to. I think in a lot of different businesses going forward, and I know I have a hard time with distractions. So I've cut a lot of distractions out. I get um, I get distracted by the news, distracted by email notifications, things that come into my computer. So I've turned those off and check it only deliberately, things like that. So I also did a little research uh, on different ways that we can work from home better, or helping people out who may also have that same problem that I have. Right. So I researched a little article that gave some really cool tips on how to work from home, how to stay focused, again, honoring where we're at. If we need to have some unstructured, unfocused times or days. I've gone through a week where I just was like, I can't structure my day anymore. I got to free flow it. And that's just, I think, a method of self care. So I definitely go through times of structure and times of a little more free flow, and just really being aware of what I need on any given day. It's really um, it really helps. So I posted an article on that. Meredith, yes, rock the vote. Absolutely. Get out there, man. Rock the vote. Again, this is the way we make change, right? And I know that, I even need to hear that. I don't vote in my local little elections, things like that. I didn't vote for a very, very, very long time in my life. I was into my upper 40s before I before I exercise my right to vote. So I think that making it mail-in is definitely going to help a lot. I think that um, all this bull crap about trying to keep it clean today. I've been cussing lately, so I'm trying to clean it up. About mail-in voter fraud and all that other junk. I hope that just goes away because that is going to really, I think, increase votes and increase people's ability to vote and initiative to vote. I know it'll help me a lot. So I hope that is. I've already gotten my school. School is doing mail-in voting right now on the budget and stuff like that. So that's cool. Hannah can hire me to run the center and work with the volunteers. Yes, Mary Jo. I don't know. Hopefully, once we get the center back open and going again, like I said before and said numerous times, I can't wait to see your face. I can't wait to see you all. So, as always, I did an awesome grounding meditation today, and I'm going to share that with you guys too. I love my boho beautiful meditations. They're always so helpful and so amazing for me. And this was a really good one today, and one that I really needed. And it was about everything I need is inside me, and really feeling like I needed that today for some reason. I don't know why, but really great meditation. I needed some more introspection and strength and feeling like everything I need is already inside me. So that's kind of where we're at with that meditation. And I continue to do that every morning. See, what is today again? I said what today is. Wednesday, right? So Monday, Wednesday, Friday is going to be the Road to Recovery 5K at noon. So I've been doing that. Last week I went through, I'm going to post the Strava run group again too. I want to talk about that. I've only got 5 people on the run group right now. So hopefully you guys that are runners out there, join Strava, join our run group. It's really cool. Oops, I just highlighted that comment, Rachel. Yes, we can't wait to see you either. It has been forever. The Strava run group that I talked about on the Road to Recovery 5K. I went over some different running shoe types, different equipment that I used for my running. In fact, I got to wear my knee brace again today because my knee's bugging me a little bit. This week, I'm going to go over some other equipment stuff, some other run tips. I'm going to post the Strava right now, in fact, Stephanie. So join me at noon on Friday. Because where is my Strava group? That one is really going to work us up to a couch to 5K. On our 5K is going to be on the weekend of September 12th and 13th. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So, but the Couch to 5K program is going to start in July. The first few weeks of it, I'm just going to go through some different tips and techniques and preparation. We'll do some stretching together, things like that, and have some fun together for the first few weeks, and then we'll get into the different workouts and homework and stuff like that for the Couch to 5K program, which again, I can't say enough good about. I've seen so many people become runners with that program. Just people that were like, I can't run, I don't run, I'm not a runner kind of thing, to now they're runners. It's amazing. Mo just got new road shoes at Fleet Feet at the Armory. They're making fitting appointments online. Yes. And that was one thing I talked about Friday as well. Fitting appointments are so helpful. To get a pair of shoes, obviously your equipment counts. I talked about this on Friday too. My buddy Kyle says his grandfather always said, you spend money on things that touch the earth. That's your tires and your shoes for starters. So get good running shoes, both trail and road. Those are 2 separate things. And I went over that on Friday and what they look like and things. But getting a proper fitting is worth its weight in gold, and it doesn't cost you anymore to get a proper fitting to find out if you have wide feet, what your arches are like. They'll do all of that, and your shoes will be fit so much better. And just trust me, it's well worth it. So do that. A lot of the yes, Fleet Feet's back open. What was the other one that? Medved is another local run store that does a really good job with fitting. Em was just talking about that the other day. That those are both great stores to get the fittings, and they're starting to open back up again. So they do that by appointment, right, Mo? Yeah, appointments online. And then they have great running shoes too. So support local. Those are local run stores. Medved, Fleet Feet, I think is local. Well, they're locally owned, but I think they're broader. They're outside of Rochester too. But anyway, and then Mary Jo, you asked me about Chasing the Scream. Yes, I have started reading that. It's not as easy to get through as I'm not enjoying it as much as Lost Connections, his other book that I read, because there's a lot of just history, and I'm not a fan of history necessarily, or so much of it. Maybe a little bit of it, but Chasing the Scream has primarily been, I'm looking at the book now, and maybe 45%, not quite halfway through it, but almost halfway through it. And I'm just having a hard time connecting with it. So I also got Born to Run, and I'm reading that too. So Chasing the Scream feels a little bit like I'm working, because it goes through so much of the history of the drug war and things like that. It's just a lot of it. It feels like work. So I've kind of eased back on that a little bit. I still haven't read past the first chapter. Yeah, so maybe you're having a hard time connecting with it too. Get something. I know you got Lost Connections too. Start that. That was a great book. I love. I'm going to go back and read Lost Connections again, but intersperse it to be able to get through it. Read a chapter, then go on to something else. That's what I'm trying to do to get through it. I'm hoping that it gets better. I know it gets better because there's an extra chapter at the end about his talk on connection being the opposite of addiction. So anyway, yes, Chasing the Scream has not been as enjoyable as Lost Connections for me so far. It's not you, Mary Jo, trust me. I can't focus on it either. Born to Run, though, is an amazing book, and I can't put it down. So I'm already maybe almost a third through Born to Run, and I just got that. So I can't wait for a sunny day to sit out in my yard and read that some more. It's been a great book. Anyway, speaking of Born to Run, I'm going to go run, do my 6 miles. I've droned on long enough. Thanks for hanging with me through my soapbox talk. But seriously, though, give it some more thought. Any way that we can help give voice to the voiceless, or help those who are not as privileged as we are, and helping them find their voice or be heard. All about that, and always looking for suggestions of ways that we can do that meaningfully, thoughtfully, and respectfully. And as always, we also support our law enforcement brothers and sisters out there who are doing an amazing job. I've reached out to several of them, hoping that they stay safe through all this, because I'm thinking about them as well. Good people. I mean, again, the way that the people who are creating trouble don't encompass everyone who is out there protesting for change. Some of the bad law enforcement officers out there that we've seen, again and again in video, do not encompass the entirety of law enforcement. And there's some really good people out there doing amazing work. So just know that on both sides, there are righteous people doing righteous things, and just, again, use our heads and our hearts. And you can't go wrong doing that, okay? Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you joining me, as always. I love you. I will see you Friday, and then again on Monday. And look out for our other feeds. Our schedule is posted at the top of the Facebook page. Reach out if you're in need of additional support. our peer services, outreach and engagement, peer recovery support services, 622-4975. Or you can always send us a message on Facebook, or our email is mail@rockcoveryfitness.org. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you Friday, Monday, and next Wednesday. Love you guys. Thanks, Mary Jo. Thanks for saying bye. Thanks, Stephanie, Mo, Mary Lynn, Kendall. See you guys later. Peace.